Okay, got a 4-month-old boy brought to the pediatrician by his parents because his head size is increasing. He had difficulty feeding and has become more irritable now, and he was born at term via uncomplicated vaginal delivery, and his development has been appropriate. But there's this bulging anterior frontanelle, and the scalp veins appear prominent. When held upright, his eyes deviate downward with a rim of sclera visible above the iris. Okay, the condition remains untreated. What complication will you likely see? So those are our answers, and we can see there's a correct one there. Flaccid paralysis of the lower extremities. So that's what happens when we get the lower motor neurons, like the spinal cord injuries and polio, for instance. The hydrocephalus will affect the upper motor neurons, not the lower, and so it causes spasticity, not flaccid paralysis. Okay, so the lower motor neurons would definitely be flaccid paralysis associations. But if you have a bulging frontanelle, you have hydrocephalus, it's upper. That just happens to be where they're located. All right, a medulloblastoma, increased risk, that's the brain tumor. Well, a medulloblastoma can definitely block the CSF and cause hydrocephalus, but having hydrocephalus does not cause or increase the risk of getting that tumor. It's the other way around. Recurrent episodes of bacterial meningitis. So meningitis can cause hydrocephalus by, what it does is the CSF has a draining system, and that will become scarred and damaged with meningitis. But meningitis itself, so it can cause the hydrocephalus, but hydrocephalus does not cause meningitis. Unless you have like a shunt that takes place, in which case you can have an infection, but there's nothing about that in the question stem. Like they don't say, hey, this person had a shunt because of their hydrocephalus and then they caused their bacterial meningitis. The spasticity and hyperreflexia of the lower extremities, good, this is correct. And a subarachnoid hemorrhage can lead indeed to hydrocephalus, but hydrocephalus does not cause it. So the other ones are kind of like associated, but not causal. And hydrocephalus itself definitely wouldn't cause the meningitis, but the stretched upper motor neurons from the hydrocephalus cause the stiff muscles and overactive reflexes. So that's a classic complication of hydrocephalus if it's not treated, is you're gonna have this spastic hyperreflexia. Okay, so spasticity, hyperreflexia, clonus, Babinski sign, those are all positive. These are all upper motor neuron lesions. So you would have problems with the upper motor neurons because they're all damaged, and the flaccid the flaccid problems would be lower motor neurons, and maybe poliomyelitis is another good one. Spinal muscular atrophy, spinal cord injuries. Okay, hopefully this is helpful. Basically, the recap is congenital hydrocephalus leading to ventricular dilation, stretching upper motor neurons, and that causes spasticity and hyperreflexivity just because hydrocephalus is associated with upper motor neuron lesions, not lower. Yeah, that's pretty much all we got. You know, if it were lower, you'd see spinal cord injuries or maybe like polio or something like that. Okay, if you enjoyed, like and subscribe.